Imagine existing in a society where your mere belief in an unseen God could result in torture, death in arenas filled with bloodthirsty spectators, or the confiscation of your property, along with the dismemberment of your family. It resembles a scene from a film, does it not? Yet, this was the harsh and brutal reality faced by early Christians during the first centuries of our era. It is a narrative of steadfast faith, bravery in the face of hardship, and a legacy that has profoundly influenced the world as we know it. Prepare to delve into one of the most significant and captivating periods in the history of Christianity, a journey marked by suffering and triumph that resonates to this day. Welcome to the Biblical Curiosities channel. We are excited to embark on another journey of knowledge and discovery through the intriguing history of the Christian faith. Today, we will delve into a topic that, while marked by suffering and persecution, showcases the unwavering strength of convictions and the resilience of a group of individuals who, despite numerous trials, maintained their faith and spread it across the globe. In the coming minutes, we will conduct a thorough analysis of the persecution faced by the first Christians, a pivotal period that not only tested the boundaries of belief, but also shaped the identity and future of Christianity. Grasping the nuances of this era, the factors that led to this relentless persecution, the methods of resistance, and the legacy left by these early followers of Jesus is vital for appreciating the depth and significance of the faith we uphold, as well as for understanding one of the most influential religious movements in human history. Prepare to hear accounts of bravery, unimaginable suffering, and a hope that transcended the gravest atrocities. We will explore the political, social, and religious complexities that led to this wave of violence, and how, paradoxically, this persecution became a catalyst for the growth of Christianity. Stay with us and discover how faith, even in the face of oppression, can thrive and alter the course of history. The narrative of the persecution of early Christians is a complex tapestry, interwoven with threads of fanaticism, intolerance, fear, and, above all, an unyielding faith that has endured the trials of time and brutality. Together, we will uncover every detail of this essential story for understanding Christianity and its enduring influence on the world. Our initial explorations into the history of Christian persecution lead us to the very origin of Christianity in Jerusalem, shortly after Jesus' ascension. At first, Jesus' followers, many of whom were Jewish, encountered resistance and hostility from certain factions of the Jewish authorities. The proclamation of a crucified and resurrected Messiah, diverging from traditional expectations of a political and military leader, sparked significant controversy and opposition. New interpretations of Mosaic law and the inclusion of Gentiles within the faith community also became notable points of contention. The Book of Acts offers a vivid depiction of these early confrontations. The fearless preaching of the apostles, including Peter and John, along with the signs and wonders they performed, attracted numerous followers, but also incited the anger of the Sanhedrin, the foremost Jewish religious council. We witness Peter and John being arrested and interrogated, prohibited from speaking in Jesus' name, yet they responded with steadfast courage, asserting that it was impossible to remain silent about what they had witnessed. Nevertheless, the first martyr for the Christian faith, whose sacrifice signified the onset of a prolonged period of suffering, was Stephen. His articulate defense of the faith before the Sanhedrin, culminating in a magnificent vision of Jesus at God's right hand, infuriated his accusers. Taken outside the city, Stephen was stoned to death while praying for his executioners, emulating the example of his master. Stephen's death incited a wave of persecution in Jerusalem, spearheaded by Saul of Tarsus, who would later become the Apostle Paul. This initial persecution dispersed many of Jesus' followers, who migrated to other regions carrying the gospel message with them. This early phase of resistance and Stephen's martyrdom are vital for understanding that the history of Christianity, from its inception, has been deeply intertwined with suffering and sacrifice. The seed of faith was sown in barren soil, nourished by the blood of martyrs, And this early resilience would prove crucial in confronting the even greater challenges posed by the Roman Empire. Stephen's bravery and the resolve of the early disciples in the face of adversity established the groundwork for the growth of Christianity, illustrating that even the most relentless persecution could not silence the message of Jesus Christ. As the early Christians were scattered from Jerusalem due to persecution, the message of the gospel began to extend beyond the confines of Judea, reaching various cities within the Roman Empire. Missionaries like Paul embarked on extensive journeys, establishing Christian communities in significant urban centers such as Antioch, Ephesus, Corinth, and Rome. Initially regarded as a sect of Judaism, Christianity started to draw an increasing number of Gentiles, non-Jews, who discovered in Jesus's teachings a message of hope, love, and universal salvation. This growth, while representing a victory for the emerging faith, also set it on a collision course with the Roman Empire. Roman society, characterized by its intricate polytheistic religion and the importance of emperor worship as a symbol of unity and political allegiance, began to regard Christians with mounting suspicion. The Christians' refusal to engage in Roman religious rituals, to make sacrifices to the gods, and to venerate the emperor was perceived not only as a religious insult, but also as an act of defiance and a threat to the social and political stability of the empire. For the Romans, religion and the state were deeply intertwined, and the rejection of Roman deities was viewed as a challenge to the Pax Deorum, or peace with the gods, which was considered vital for the empire's prosperity and security. Additionally, Christians gathered in secret, which fueled rumors and suspicions regarding their practices. Baseless allegations of cannibalism, stemming from the metaphor of the Lord's Supper, eating the body and drinking the blood of Christ, and incest, due to their references to one another as brothers and sisters, circulated, damaging the reputation of the Christian community among the Romans. The uniqueness of the Christian faith, with its belief in a single God and rejection of all other deities, sharply contrasted with Roman religious pluralism and was perceived as intolerant and exclusivist. This escalating distrust and misunderstanding from Roman authorities and the populace set the stage for the systematic persecutions that ensued, marking one of the darkest yet most resilient chapters in the history of Christianity. The faith, which was flourishing, encountered an empire that increasingly viewed it with trepidation, foreshadowing the conflicts that would shape the ensuing centuries. The year 64 AD signifies a tragic and notorious turning point in the history of Christian persecution. The Great Fire of Rome, catastrophic blaze engulfed much of the city, and Emperor Nero, in a desperate attempt to find a scapegoat to divert blame from himself and quell the anger of the populace, targeted the Christians. Tacitus, the esteemed Roman historian, despite his lack of sympathy for Christians, detailed the brutality of the ensuing persecution. He reported that Nero concocted vile accusations against the Christians, asserting that they were guilty of atheism due to their refusal to worship the Roman gods and hatred of humanity because they distanced themselves from pagan practices. The persecution under Nero was characterized by extreme savagery and horrific public displays. Christians were arrested en masse and subjected to inhumane tortures. Some were clad in animal skins and thrown to wild dogs to be torn apart. Others faced crucifixion or were burned alive, serving as human torches to illuminate Nero's gardens at night. These acts of cruelty were designed not only to punish Christians, but also to instill fear in others who might empathize with their beliefs. Although Nero's persecution was limited in duration and primarily confined to the city of Rome, it had a profound impact. It established a dangerous precedent, linking the name Christian with atrocious crimes in the minds of many Romans and fostering an atmosphere of hostility that would endure for decades. Additionally, this early persecution left a lasting imprint on the memory of the Christian community, solidifying the figure of the martyr as a paramount witness to the faith. Accounts of the suffering and bravery of Christians under Nero circulated throughout the community, reinforcing their identity and resolve to remain steadfast in their beliefs, even in the face of death. Nero's persecution serves as a stark reminder of how political power, combined with fear and ignorance, can be wielded to oppress and brutalize religious minorities. Yet, paradoxically, the brutality of this persecution also underscored the unwavering faith of Christ's followers, sowing the seeds of a resistance that would ultimately transform the empire. After Nero's persecution, Christianity entered a phase of relative tranquility, although the specter of persecution never entirely vanished. This era, which spanned approximately 2 centuries, saw the Christian faith continue to grow and solidify within the Roman Empire. Christian communities began to organize, develop their doctrines, establish leadership, and reinforce their internal connections. Bishops and presbyters emerged as both spiritual and administrative leaders, tasked with guiding local communities and safeguarding the orthodoxy of the faith. The Holy Scriptures, including the Gospels, the letters of Paul, and other apostolic writings, started to be compiled and acknowledged as the foundation of Christian doctrine. Religious liturgy and rites evolved, creating a structure for worship and communal life. Despite the lack of systematic imperial persecution for the majority of this time, Christians still encountered hostility and discrimination at the local level. Common accusations persisted, and in certain instances, provincial governors ordered the arrests and executions of Christians considered to be disrupting public order or guilty of offenses such as atheism and majesty, refusing to venerate the emperor. However, these occurrences were generally sporadic and uncoordinated across the empire. This period of relative peace enabled Christianity to take deeper root in Roman society, appealing to individuals from diverse backgrounds, including intellectuals, and members of the aristocracy. The message of hope, love, and salvation offered by Christianity resonated with many who were disillusioned with traditional pagan religions and the values of the Roman world. Christian ethics, emphasizing charity, humility, and care for those in need, also drew many followers. Prominent Christian writers known as the Church Fathers, such as Justin Martyr, Irenaeus of Lyons, and Tertullian, emerged to defend the faith against pagan criticism, elucidate its doctrines, and counter heresies that arose within the Christian community itself. Their writings were instrumental in shaping Christian theology and solidifying the identity of the faith. Thus, this period between the major persecutions was a time of internal growth and fortification of the Christian community. Despite the persistent threat of persecution, the faith continued to thrive, laying the groundwork for the eventual confrontation with the Roman Empire in the 3rd century. In the early 4th century, during the reign of Emperor Diocletian, the Roman Empire initiated its most systematic and brutal persecution of Christians, a period that became known as the Great Persecution. In 303 AD, Diocletian issued a series of imperial edicts aimed at completely eliminating Christianity from the empire. The first edict mandated the destruction of Christian churches and the burning of the Holy Scriptures. Christians were prohibited from gathering for worship, and their properties were confiscated. A second edict required all Christians to renounce their faith and offer sacrifices to the Roman gods, under threat of imprisonment and torture. Subsequent edicts escalated the persecution, mandating the arrest of all Christian clergy and imposing even harsher penalties on those who refused to renounce their faith. The Great Persecution extended throughout the Roman Empire and lasted nearly a decade, with its intensity varying according to the regional governors and the emperors who followed Diocletian. Thousands of Christians, regardless of age or social class, were arrested, tortured, and executed in horrific manners. They faced being burned alive, beheaded, crucified, thrown to wild beasts in amphitheaters, and subjected to other unimaginable tortures. The objective was not only to punish Christians, but also to instill fear and deter others from embracing the faith. Diocletian's persecution was characterized by a systematic effort to erase all evidence of Christianity. Churches were reduced to their foundations, sacred texts were destroyed in public bonfires, and Christians were compelled to choose between renouncing their faith and facing death. Yet, despite the unrelenting violence, the great persecution did not achieve its intended goal. Instead of weakening Christianity, it paradoxically fortified the faith of believers and increased the number of martyrs whose sacrifices inspired others to remain resolute in their convictions. The resilience of Christians in the face of persecution, their bravery in professing their faith even at the cost of their lives, and the compassion they exhibited for one another, testified to the transformative power of the gospel. The Great Persecution marked the peak of the conflict between Christianity and the Roman Empire, serving as a final test of endurance that would reveal the unshakable strength of the Christian faith and set the stage for its eventual triumph. In the context of the brutality and systematic nature of Roman persecution, the resilience of early Christians and the testimony of their martyrs were pivotal in the survival and growth of the faith. Rather than succumbing to violence, many Christians exhibited remarkable courage and conviction, choosing to endure torture and death instead of renouncing their faith in Jesus Christ. This readiness for martyrdom stemmed not from fanaticism or a desire for death, but from a profound belief in eternal life and the promise of resurrection as conveyed by the gospel. The martyrs were regarded as heroes of the faith, and their sacrifices served as a powerful testament to God's might and the truth of Christianity. Their narratives of suffering and bravery were shared and celebrated within Christian communities, reinforcing the faith of believers and motivating others to emulate their example. Remaining steadfast in faith amidst persecution was perceived as a spiritual triumph over evil forces and a validation of Christian belief. Additionally, the resilience of Christians was evident in their organizational skills and their capacity to maintain community unity even under severe pressure. Covert networks of communication and support were formed to assist prisoners, care for the orphans and widows of martyrs, and safeguard the Holy Scriptures. Christian communities continued to gather in secret for prayer, to celebrate the Eucharist, and to encourage one another in their faith. The determination of Christians in the face of persecution stood in stark contrast to the Roman authorities' expectation that violence and intimidation would lead to the faith's demise. Instead, persecution often appeared to bolster the resolve of Christians and even draw in new converts who were inspired by their bravery and willingness to sacrifice their lives for their beliefs. Tertullian, an early church father, famously stated, "The blood of the martyrs is the seed of the church." This phrase encapsulates the notion that persecution, paradoxically, aided the growth of Christianity, as the witness of the martyrs sowed the seeds of faith in the hearts of others. The resilience of early Christians and the courageous testimony of their martyrs represent a lasting legacy in Christian history, illustrating the power of faith in adversity and inspiring generations of believers throughout the ages. After centuries of sporadic persecution and, ultimately, the harshness of Diocletian's great persecution, a significant turning point in the history of Christianity occurred in AD 313. With the issuance of the Edict of Milan by emperors Constantine and Licinius, Christianity was no longer a forbidden religion and gained legal recognition within the Roman Empire. This landmark edict did not establish Christianity as the official religion of the empire, a status that would later be conferred under Emperor Theodosius. But it did ensure religious freedom for all Roman citizens, including Christians. The Edict of Milan represented a crucial moment in the evolution of religious freedom and had far-reaching implications for the future of Christianity in the Roman Empire. It brought an end to centuries of state-sponsored persecution, allowing Christians to practice their faith openly, construct churches, and organize without fear of retaliation. Properties that had been seized during the persecutions were returned, and Christians were able to engage more fully in the public life of the empire. The motivations behind the Edict of Milan are intricate and have been the subject of historical debate. Constantine, in particular, was instrumental in this development. According to Christian tradition, he experienced a vision of a cross or the monogram of Christ before a pivotal battle and credited his military success to the protection of the Christian God. While the degree and nature of his personal conversion to Christianity are contested, it is clear that Constantine acknowledged the increasing significance and influence of Christians within the empire. The legalization of Christianity may have been perceived as a means to foster political stability and unity in an increasingly religiously diverse empire. The Edict of Milan signified the conclusion of a prolonged period of suffering for Christians and ushered in a new era in the history of the faith. From that point forward, Christianity was able to grow and flourish freely within the Roman Empire, exerting an ever greater impact on society, politics, and culture. The legalization of Christianity did not instantly eliminate all opposition or animosity, but it did eliminate the primary barrier posed by state persecution. The Edict of Milan thus stands as a testament to the triumph of the resilience and determination of early Christians, whose steadfast faith, even in the face of persecution, ultimately transformed the empire that sought to extinguish it. The era of persecution faced by early Christians, despite its brutality and the immense suffering it inflicted, left a significant and enduring legacy that influenced the identity and development of Christianity for centuries. The remembrance of the martyrs and their narratives of bravery and steadfast faith became a fundamental aspect of the Christian tradition, serving as a motivating example for future generations of believers. Martyrdom evolved to be regarded not merely as a tragic demise, but as a profound testament of faith and a sharing in the passion of Christ. The relics of the martyrs were honored, and their burial sites transformed into destinations for pilgrimage and prayer. Christian liturgy embraced the remembrance of the martyrs, featuring feasts and celebrations in their honor. The notion of martyrdom deeply impacted Christian spirituality, highlighting the significance of loyalty to Christ, even when confronted with the threat of death, and the promise of eternal life as a reward for perseverance. Additionally, persecution played a role in solidifying Christian identity and defining its boundaries in relation to other religions and philosophies. The necessity to withstand external pressures and maintain their beliefs reinforced the internal unity of Christian communities and led to enhanced doctrinal clarity. The challenges brought about by persecution also encouraged the creation of apologetic literature, where Christian authors defended their faith against pagan criticisms and aimed to showcase its rationality and moral superiority. Furthermore, persecution significantly influenced the organization of the Church. The demand for communication and mutual support during perilous times fostered the development of more robust ecclesiastical structures and a greater centralization of bishops' authority. The acknowledgement of confessors, Christians who affirmed their faith under torture but survived, as figures of moral authority, also aided in shaping the ecclesiastical hierarchy. Ironically, persecution, which sought to obliterate Christianity, ultimately fortified and refined it, cultivating a more resilient and determined faith. The legacy of persecution serves as a continual reminder of the cost of faith and the significance of religious freedom. The accounts of early Christians who confronted oppression with bravery and conviction continue to inspire and challenge believers today, emphasizing the importance of staying true to their principles even amidst adversity. The persecution of early Christians was not merely an internal occurrence in the history of the Christian faith. It also significantly influenced Roman society as a whole. The violent suppression of an expanding group of citizens created social and political tensions within the empire. The brutality of public spectacles involving torture and execution, although aimed at deterring others from joining the Christians, could also evoke revulsion and raise questions about the justice of the imperial system. The determination of Christians to uphold their faith, even in the face of death, challenged the authority of the state and the effectiveness of its repressive tactics. The stark contrast between the cruelty of the persecutors and the calmness and forgiveness exhibited by the martyrs often left a lasting impression on observers, and could even lead to the conversion of some individuals. The persecution also revealed the religious and cultural divisions within the Roman Empire. The religious intolerance displayed by the authorities and certain segments of the population towards Christians stood in stark contrast to the traditional Roman approach of assimilation and religious syncretism. The refusal of Christians to engage in imperial cults and to recognize the divinity of the emperor was perceived as a direct challenge to the established order and unity of the empire. This position fueled distrust and animosity, but it also underscored the distinctiveness of the Christian faith and its incompatibility with the Roman pantheon. Furthermore, the persecution, by seizing the assets and property of Christians and disrupting the lives of entire communities, had local economic and social repercussions. The destruction of churches and scriptures represented a cultural and societal loss. Yet, paradoxically, persecution may have also strengthened social bonds within Christian communities, which united in solidarity to support the needy and the persecuted. The impact of persecution on Roman society was multifaceted and intricate. While it incited violence and repression, it also unveiled the contradictions and tensions within the empire, challenged imperial authority, and, in some respects, paved the way for the eventual acceptance and legalization of Christianity as a significant and influential religious force within the Roman world. The memory of the persecution and the testimony of the martyrs served as a continual reminder of the cost of religious intolerance and the significance of freedom of conscience. The Edict of Milan in 313 AD represented a significant turning point, yet it did not instantly alleviate all difficulties for Christians. Nevertheless, the legalization of the faith set the stage for a gradual yet profound transformation of the Roman Empire towards Christianity. Under Emperor Constantine, Christianity began to receive increasing favor. Constantine not only allowed the practice of the Christian faith, but also conferred privileges upon the church, including tax exemptions for the clergy and the right to accept donations. He commissioned the construction of large Christian basilicas in Rome and other major cities, and he personally engaged in theological matters such as the Arian controversy, convening the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD. The relocation of the empire's capital to Constantinople, formerly Byzantium, also had significant implications for Christianity, as the new capital emerged as a vital center of the Christian faith. Throughout the 4th century, Christianity continued to expand its influence and attract a growing number of adherents, including members of the Roman elite. Subsequent emperors, aside from a brief resurgence of paganism under Julian the Apostate, upheld and enhanced support for Christianity. Ultimately, in 380 AD under Emperor Theodosius III, Nicene Christianity was established as the official religion of the Roman Empire through the Edict of Thessalonica. Paganism was gradually suppressed, temples were closed or repurposed as churches, and pagan rituals were banned. This ascension of Christianity from a persecuted sect to the official religion of the Roman Empire stands as one of the most remarkable and intricate phenomena in history. Various factors contributed to this transformation, including the resilience and steady growth of the Christian community during times of persecution, the impact of martyrdom, the conversion of influential figures like Constantine, and the ability of the Christian message to resonate with the spiritual and moral needs of many within the empire. The rise of Christianity had profound implications for the society, culture, politics, and religion of the Western world. It shaped the ethics, values, and institutions of European civilization for over a millennium and continues to exert significant influence today. The narrative of the persecution of early Christians is thus not only a story of suffering and resistance, but also a testament to the transformative power of faith and its enduring impact on human history. As we reach the conclusion of our examination of the persecution of early Christians, it is essential to contemplate the enduring legacy of this tumultuous and significant era in Christian history. The path we traverse, from the initial resistance in Jerusalem to the legalization of the faith through the Edict of Milan, unveils a narrative of steadfast bravery, unimaginable suffering, and a resilience that challenged the might of the Roman Empire. The remembrance of the martyrs, who chose to endure torture and death rather than abandon their faith, remains a source of inspiration and a powerful testament to the strength of their convictions. Their sacrifices were not in vain, for, as Tertullian wisely noted, the blood of the martyrs is the seed of the Church. Paradoxically, persecution did not extinguish the Christian faith. Rather, it appears to have fortified it and propelled its growth. The resolve of early Christians to uphold their beliefs in the face of severe opposition illustrates the transformative power of the gospel and its profound impact on their lives. The legacy of persecution also serves as a reminder of the significance of religious freedom and the necessity for tolerance and respect for the beliefs of others. History cautions us about the perils of fanaticism and religious intolerance, urging us to cherish and defend the fundamental right of every individual to profess and practice their faith freely. Moreover, the history of the persecution of early Christians imparts valuable lessons regarding the essence of faith and perseverance. It demonstrates that authentic faith can endure the most significant trials and that, even amid suffering, it is possible to discover hope and strength in deep convictions. The legacy of these early followers of Jesus persists in Christian communities worldwide, who draw inspiration from their examples of courage, faith, and resilience. Their narratives compel us to reflect on the significance of our own beliefs and our readiness to defend them. Thus, the persecution of early Christians constitutes a vital chapter not only in the history of Christianity, but also in the broader history of humanity, serving as a testament to the power of the human spirit in the face of adversity, and a continual reminder of the importance of freedom of conscience and religious tolerance in an increasingly diverse world. May the memory of these early martyrs continue to inspire and guide us in our pursuit of a more just and compassionate world. As we conclude another intriguing journey on the Biblical Curiosities channel, we trust that this examination of the persecution faced by the early Christians has been enlightening and has enhanced your understanding of this significant era in the history of faith. If you found this video enjoyable and wish to delve into other equally captivating and pertinent subjects, please remember to like, share this video with your friends and family, and subscribe to the channel to stay updated on our future discoveries. Your engagement is vital to us and inspires us to continue providing quality content. We are also eager to hear your thoughts. What aspect of this narrative of suffering and resilience resonated with you the most? Are there other themes from biblical history or Christianity that you would like us to explore on the channel? Please leave your comments below, and we will be delighted to engage with you. Keep in mind that the story of the persecution of the early Christians serves as a powerful reminder of the strength of faith and the significance of religious freedom, a topic that remains pertinent today. May the courage and perseverance demonstrated by these early followers of Christ motivate us to uphold our own beliefs with integrity and to always cherish the freedom of belief. We are profoundly thankful for your presence and the time you dedicate to our channel. May God be with you, and we look forward to our next biblical curiosity.